Yo, what's up, guys? Your boy Strider Chippo back with another one here to bring some brand new content in a brand new way. Wanted to talk to you guys about this new Dragon Ball Z game called Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Somebody asked me for my thoughts and opinions about it. I decided to respond with a video response here, guys. So I'm just gonna dive right into it. I'm not gonna waste any of you guys' time here about this. I did look into it a little bit. I did do some research a little bit, not a whole lot. Have seen stuff about the gameplay and all that stuff here about 2 months prior, like sometime around August when they were in GameCom. When they went to GameCom with it, they went to, I think GameCom is in Germany, and they were talking about this game and they were showcasing it, showing it off. At that point of time, they were showing mainly of the Saiyan saga. We saw a lot of Goku and Piccolo, and I want to just go ahead and talk about my opinions about the whole entire game so far. So I did see one of the recent videos, a new trailer. That trailer, they have pretty much Vegito in it. They're announcing that they're doing a Buu saga and all the other stuff as well, which is cool. So right off the bat, with this game, they're reselling a lot of nostalgia to people who are familiar with Dragon Ball Z. Basically, people who watch Dragon Ball Z since they were teenagers, even kids right now, a lot of people know Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is very popular, well known, as part of American culture, as a part of like international culture too, as well. I would go as far as to say it's just well known across the world. There's not a single person. Well, I can't say that. Well, there's not that many people who don't know of the characters of Goku and Vegeta. There's a lot of people that know of these characters, and you see that in this game, you get to relive the events of iconic moments in Dragon Ball Z. So you're starting from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, from when you start off with the Saiyan saga. We have Goku and Piccolo against Radix. Then you start all the way towards the end of when Goku's fighting against Kid Buu and he destroys Kid Buu. You're reliving those events, man. You see in some of these videos here, you get to relive the events of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan versus Cell. That is an iconic moment in Dragon Ball Z, man. That's one of the famous moments in Dragon Ball Z. You have so many people out there that says, "Oh man, Gohan, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is so awesome, man. He beat Cell. Oh, that was so good. He was just a kid, man." That was like their favorite Saiyan at the time, to Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. And then they got butthurt later in the series because Gohan wasn't doing as much training. He just wasn't as cool as he was as a teenager. Then you also get to play the events of being Vegito versus Buuhan, or Buu with Gohan absorbed, which is cool. More than likely, you get to play with Goku versus Majin and Vegeta. They're going to be events in which you get to do these things here within the game, and it's going to be so dope. That sounds dope. It sounds cool. I think a lot of people would like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that these are things are not necessarily bad things about it, but I mean, I am going to say this here, that I mean, this is something that, at least in my opinion, I think we've seen stuff like this before. There was a Dragon Ball Z game that was called Dragon Ball Z Sagas. I remember when that came out. Now, Dragon Ball Z Sagas was a beat 'em up style Dragon Ball Z game. Only bad thing about that game is it just wasn't done right, in my opinion. It wasn't really done right at all. The graphics of that game was just terrible. Oh man, the gameplay was not bad. I mean, it's cool if you're playing with people. At that time when that game came out, it was cool because of the fact that me and my brother were small, we were little. We, you know what I'm saying, we really didn't know that much better about video games, but looking back on it, I see how bad the game was. It's just things about that game that could have been better. The graphics could have been a lot better. Instead of it being more of a 3D like thing, I think that game should have been more of a 2D / beat 'em up. I think that would have been a lot more better. A 2D beat 'em up, or 2.5D / beat 'em up. I think that would have been a lot better. People would have enjoyed it more. I can see myself doing a game like that, or designing a game like that, and just putting in more Dragon Ball Z elements here to that game. You just have to have the right people designing it. If there was me doing a Dragon Ball Z / beat 'em up game, as I said before, I would have it as a 2.5D side scroller game, and then I would put in those elements that make Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball Z. So, for example, you know, and Dragon Ball Z is known for having fast and flashy combat and stuff like that, right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta put those moments in there. Like, have your character be able to do, like, if we're gonna have Goku in that game, have Goku do Kaioken, right? And when he uses Kaioken, he knocks his enemy in the air, enemy inside the air, and then he can knock him to the other side of the screen, knock him up. He could pretty much knock him anywhere. And I think that really would have been dope as a beat 'em up style game here. I think that would have been dope, cool elements. You just have to showcase it well. You have to do it well. You have to do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? You just got to do it the right way. With that game, I probably would have had, obviously, it would have been a punch kit, energy, things like that and so forth. You know what I mean? Kind of plays like, not exactly like, well, I mean, I think beat 'em up games are like that anyway. You're playing a combination of buttons, very similar to Streets of Rage. I mean, you're pressing punch, kick, you know, Ninja Gaiden, things like that. So where you put in a combination of buttons in order to do combos, that can be put and implemented inside a Dragon Ball Z / beat 'em up game if they want it. But you have to write the right people to do it. Now, I did go to school for game design, if you guys didn't know. But that was just me. I think I would probably be able to design a pretty interesting Dragon Ball Z beat 'em up style game if give it the right tools, the right team. I can definitely point that game in a good, really good direction. I think I have a very good eye for design. But going back in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot here, guys, this game, if I didn't say it, it's just, I think that's a bad thing about the game. It's just this game is actually it's just too floaty. You're spending more of your time in the air than anything else. You're spending more of your time flying around instead of being on the ground. And I don't really want it to be that way, to be honest with you. That's just me. I personally don't want that to be that way. I think it should be a combination of both of those things. But going back into the activities in this game is a action RPG game. Let's talk about the gameplay. It's an action RPG game. The gameplay reminds you a lot about Dragon Ball Z Raging Blast. It's like Dragon Ball Z Raging Blast, Xenoverse. And I'm gonna be honest here with you guys, I'm not a fan of this open world environment personally. I'm not a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really. I didn't like it. It's more open world now, or at least it's more bigger. The world is a lot more bigger than what it is than most of the other previous Dragon Ball Z games. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot more you can actually do with this game. You can interact with pretty much different characters from the Dragon Ball universe. And we're talking about Dragon Ball characters from, I think, Android 1, Android 8, or whatever. You're interacting with characters like Nam from Dragon Ball, man. These are old, iconic characters. That's cool. Stuff like that's cool. It's nostalgia. I mean, it brings you back. You have different maps here. You're not staying in one spot. You're going to Nam's town in this game too, as well. As far as I'm understanding from what I've seen, when you're playing with Majin Vegeta, you're going in his hometown. There's a mode in the game, in the trailer of that newest trailer came out. You saw Gohan going to school. You get to play with Great Saiyaman. You are going to different worlds also as well. So obviously you're going to go to Planet Namek. You're probably more than likely going to go to the Kai's world at that. This game follows after pretty much the episodes of Dragon Ball Z. That's what it follows after. It's the episodes of Dragon Ball Z all over again. Your mission, you have basically missions that you do. You have your side missions that you do, and you can level up. You can probably eat this game. There's a lot. It's almost I couldn't say it's like GTA meets Dragon Ball Z. Obviously, it's not necessarily that. You don't do all those things here, but you have a lot of activities you can do in this game. A lot of stuff you can do. It's just that way this game's direction is going. It's going in a direction in which it reminisces a lot of Dragon Ball Z Raging Blast and Xenoverse, and I don't like that about it. That's what I don't like about it. And I'm not saying all this stuff to discourage anybody from buying the product. By all means, buy the product if you want to. My honest opinion is I'm probably not going to buy the product, but I may rent it. I can see myself maybe doing a red box for this game just to give it a try and see how it is, but I can't guarantee myself that I'm going to buy that game unless I actually play it first to see how I like it. And I think the things I would love to see in a Dragon Ball Z RPG game. Don't get me wrong, action RPG is good. I love action RPGs. You know, what I mean, this new Final Fantasy VII remake that's coming out. I think the game is beautiful. I think it's amazing. I'm loving the gameplay. I love this. This is how it's. If you notice, I want to say right around from 2000, maybe 10 and up to where we're at right now. We've been doing more action RPG games than anything. So this is why they decided to go along with this, pretty much this style for a game. However, you know what I think they should do? If they're gonna do an RPG game and they're gonna put Dragon Ball Z with it, I think they should have kept this game more traditional. This should have been a little bit. This should have been more combined with a traditional turn-based style RPG game with interaction. Yeah, pretty much. It should have been a turn-based game combined with action RPG elements to it as well. If that makes sense. So more interaction elements. So a good example of what I'm talking about is Legend of the Dragoon. I don't know if you guys have played that game. That's not I wouldn't classify that as an action RPG game at all. It's not necessarily that. It's a traditional style RPG game. However, it has those elements of what I'm talking about. It has those interaction elements. There are moments in pretty much while you're in combat in Legend of Dragoon, you do this you'll do moves like double slash or harpoon with certain characters. I think that was so cool and dope. I can only imagine seeing something like that inside of a Dragon Ball Z RPG game. But what they do with it is this: instead of you do the same things such as the way you did it in Legend of Dragoon. However, you can even do even more stuff. Those combination of attacks that you do, you pull off more combos. You know, then you go inside of a moment in Dragon Ball Z. You know how in Dragon Ball Z they had those moments where you see them fighting real fast, they're throwing a whole bunch of fists at each other, they're dodging and stuff like that. Then you have interaction moments in this in the combat of this RPG game I'm talking about, where you're doing things such as that, right? You know, and I think that would be kind of cool to see. I think that'd be some cool stuff to do. You imagine you selecting you trying to do Kaioken, but then the computer maybe could probably counter it, but at the same time you can counter his counter or whatever. It all depends on how it's all done. I think I would love to see this game as more of a turn-based RPG game with more interaction elements here to it, like Legend of Dragoon. I think that would be nice. You just gotta have the right people doing it, and you have to have the right ideas on how to do it. Because if you don't have any of those things, the game is just pretty much not going to be anything, man. It's not going to be anything. It just won't be interesting at all. And I think that's would be a better approach for a Dragon Ball Z RPG game, and also a new storyline too. Because we've been seeing a lot. Most people who know of Dragon Ball Z, they already know of the story of Dragon Ball Z. They already know about that. You know what I'm saying? They already know. So I don't think they need to retell or sell the same things here. We don't need to do that. I think they don't stay away from nostalgia and just give us new content. Give us new episodes. There's a reason why we have so many fan-made animes of Dragon Ball Z. We got fan-made characters of Dragon Ball Z, man. We have so much of that stuff you can find on Instagram. You can find it here on YouTube. You can find it here on the internet. That's why you have that Dragon Ball multiverse fan-made comic that they came out with. They've done their own characters onto it, whatever situations. Man, they got a lot of that stuff out there. And I think they should, be more flexible or be more open to the idea of doing things like that by messing around with some of the properties here too, getting Akira Toriyama to do work on some of this stuff. A good example of what I'm talking about with Dragon Ball FighterZ, they gave us a whole new story here with Android 21, a whole new story. Okay, and I thought the story was, and I can't say it was a whole bunch of amazing. It wasn't amazing here to it, but it was something that we haven't experienced as of yet. Now that same character that came Android 21, you have so many people that's so liking that character so much. They're drawing that character. They're including that character inside Dragon Ball Super card game here, as I talked about already on my channel. That's what I'm talking about. I think stuff like that would be more interesting to see than Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, because what I'm seeing with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a lot of basically there's a resale of a lot of nostalgia here to it, which it's not, there ain't nothing that wrong with it. It's just something we've been seeing here for quite a bit, and I actually don't want to really necessarily see that. But anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts and opinions on this. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment, rate, subscribe. More content coming soon, and peace.